Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So we go to Game 4 of Colonial Carnage 2016. My beast herds are facing a Dread Elf army. Now the guy I'm playing is in my club, and our club's doing really well at this tournament, so it was a real bummer we had to play each other because, well, because there's a Best Club Award, which is kind of a big deal in the area. I mean, it's a deal, it's kind of fun. But I don't know what table we're on. My guess is we're on table 5 or 6, which I think is just outstanding considering I got tabled myself in game 2. So really happy to be even this near the top. The good news is for me is I know my opponent's list very well, and that helps. I mean, it's still kind of a tough nut to crack, and he's a good player. But anyway, so starting on the left, he's got a big unit of executioners. He's got a spellcaster in there. He's got his cauldron, which he was over at my house the weekend prior, using my airbrush, and so that is partially painted by me. So I'll take credit there. Let's see, he's got a unit of crossbows with another spellcaster, both level 2 wilderness. The list is in the description. He's got 2 units of harpies behind him. He's got a big unit of dread knights with his general and a battle standard bearer, and then another unit of crossbows, and then 2 units of fast cav here, and another unit of fast cav there. So he's got what I'm calling now a 2 battleship list, 2 really tough characters, a very strong support unit in that cauldron, and then 5 units of very mobile chaff. I think he has me out chaffed, which is a problem because I'm going to win or lose this game based on whether or not I get the combats that I want in the way that I want them. Otherwise, I can't handle especially his executioner unit. I just can't handle it. His general especially, his general and BSB both, are just really tough. And then the whole unit is just a character delivery system, except that they're no slouch either. So I've got mongrels way over here on the right. Then my couple chariots. See some feral hounds up front. Big unit of Wildhorns with my general battle standard bearer and a spellcaster in there. Minotaurs in front of them, vanguarded up is my Centaur, Chieftain, and feral hounds, and then 2 Gortach. I think even 2 Gortach struggle against that list up there, but you know, a Gortach or 2 with some magic support, or 2 Gortachs and Minotaurs, especially some magic support, I think might be able to handle that unit. I'm throwing a lot of points at that unit, a lot more than the unit's worth. All right, so for the most part, we started playing cat and mouse with the deploying, then I said screw it, I just put everything down. So I knew I was going to go first. And what I really like to do is get my Centaur Chieftain vanguarded up, you know, behind my opponent's lines. But he was aware of that trick, and so my Centaur Chieftain's just kind of hanging out. Yeah, so for the most part, I just hang out like that. My Mongrel Raiders on the far right shoot at his fast cav and kill one. I figure that is a moral victory over there. There's a chariot hanging out on the right, and I think I failed a charge with it. It was possible to connect a charge with fast cav. I knew it was possible I would miss, and if I failed, I wasn't worried about it because I'm okay with the position of that thing. So we go to Dread Elf turn 1. In the magic phase, nothing of significance happened. In the Dread Elf phase, you can see he shoots his harpies up on the left to redirect a whole bunch of stuff there. And otherwise, he doesn't really move his stuff, except on the far right. Well, except for 2 fast cav units. So he's obviously very focused on killing my chaff. He's got enough shooting to kill probably a unit of dogs, the unit of dogs on the left, and the unit of dogs right in front of my general's unit. And then you can tell he just said screw it, and he charged his other fast cav into a chariot and a Mongrel Raiders just to get rid of them, which leaves him 1 unit of chaff completely free to do whatever he wants, and me really without any chaff. It's an aggressive take on getting rid of chaff. I don't know if it's a bad play, because once I'm out of chaff, he might just have this game. If he's got super good mobility and again some real serious hitting power. So there's that. There's that. This one, when he did it, I thought, like, yeah, that's probably just an auto win for him. And the only thing I've going for me is that if he doesn't kill my chariot, and he's probably not going to kill it, it's actually pretty likely that my chariot's going to survive. But the problem is, so what? So what if it does? Yeah. Anyway. So we go to shooting phase. The dogs that I had up in front of his executioners are now dead. and these dogs are dead. So the dogs on the left, normally I recommend not throwing your chaff out too early, because usually it's not, you don't need a turn to charge. But in this game, for whatever reason, I was being very, very aggressive. So yeah, I don't know if that was smart or not. But then again, if my dogs were back, they probably would still be dead because all you had to do was shoot them. After combat, check this out. Mongrel. I mean, this is so insignificant to the overall game, which actually I think is a mistake for my opponent to do this, because the Mongrel Raiders weren't going to hurt him. They were very, very far away from the action, and having a unit of chaff is more important where it's needed. That being said, he should have won it. I mean, it should have been just, let's just grab these points, and then he would have this fast cav unit that could go back to the lines and still do what it needs to do. But he charges in, and he only does 2 wounds, which is just really bad. And then I do 3 wounds to him, which is just unheard of. And the Mongrel Raiders win. or it's a tie, or whatever happened. It doesn't matter. We all stick around. Couldn't believe it. Way to go, Mongrels. And then this was huge. So he charges his fast cav in, and they only do 1 wound to my Chariot. Now he's got 4 riders hitting on 2s, so let's say it's 3, wounding on 4s, so he should get 1.5, and then I guess I'm saving on a 5, I guess. I don't know. Then his horses. I mean, I don't know. I think he and I both expected him to do at least a few wounds. He only did 1 wound. And then I strike back and do 3 wounds, which was crazy good. And I win combat, he breaks. Now that's huge for 2 reasons. One, if you ever charge in and break, you know, this allows me to get forward with my Chariot, and now I have options with my Chariot that I didn't have otherwise. So not only did he not take out my chaff, you know, I'm just in a much better position. But look where he fled to. He stopped right in front of the Raptor unit, the Dread Knight unit. So now I'm out of chaff, or I'm not, because I have this Chariot still. I'm low on chaff, but now he is chaff. Those guys might as well just have joined my team. Absolutely huge. Absolutely. And I think it's huge strategically, but for morale, my opponent's reeling a little bit at this point, because just he had these 2 easy victories that turned right against him. This was mammoth. All right, so we go to Beastlord's turn 2. It's hard to remember everything that went on and the reason for it. There's no way I charged his fast cav. I liked them right where they were. I charged my general's unit into his unit of harpies, and he fled. And I don't know what he was thinking. I think he would have a hard time. You know, he put him there to redirect me. I don't know. I mean, he fled with them. And the good news, had they bounced through everything, then I think that's a good call. You save the points, whatever. But they landed right in front of his executioners. So now his fast cav are chaffing his Dread Knight unit on the right, and his harpies are chaffing his executioner unit on the left. Just absolutely thank you. It was the worst luck for my opponent, except it wasn't luck that he chose to flee with the harpies. I think that was just a mistake. So that was big. You see I have some ambushers come up from behind. Those are the 2. It's almost like those guys turned to join my team. I appreciate it. These guys come on the back, so we're just going to shoot at that repeater crossbow unit. There's no way I'm going to charge into his general's unit. I guess the only way I would do it is if I could do it in a way that his general wasn't touching him, and I could get him in the flank. But for the most part, if even one of his characters can fight in that fight, like if it's on this corner here, and I think he is, the general, if I can maximize models in combat, then his general wins that combat all by himself. So the bolt thrower guy, this turn was able to get behind his line, so I shoot a bolt into this unit, and I kill a couple knights. I was really torn between shooting at this unit or shooting at the Cauldron. The Cauldron has a darn ward save. This, I just felt like getting some of those knights off the table. Meanwhile, over here, the Mongrels, they take only a single wound, they deal a wound back, and they beat the fast cav. That just makes me so happy. Just freaking awesome. After combat over here, so I had 1 Gortach charge his remaining Harpy unit. I think I declared that charge before the other charge, because otherwise I think he should have fled with them. Anyway, but having beat him from combat, I could safely do my overrun because his harpies are chaffing him up. His executioners can't charge my chieftain because they can't wheel past the harpies, and they can't charge my Gortach because they can't wheel past the harpies and get there. My opponent is so frustrated with his harpies. I think if he could throw them across the room, he would have. All right, we go to Dread Elf turn 2. So, both units rally, which I guess is good. They are where they are, and then he just kind of backs up with his unit. He still has me out chaffed. He's still not in a horrible position. Yeah, it's just not in a fantastic position either, though. I have a lot of charge options to do, and you know, like if I charge because he backed up, now I'm not going to charge my Wildhorns into his flank because his general wins that combat. Had he not done that, if I could have charged in and clipped them, then I could have held them in place in kind of a weird way. Anyway, so he shoots at these guys, kill a couple, doesn't even force a panic. And we go to Beast Herd's turn 3. So this one's making me nervous a little bit. This turn, I think last turn and this turn, my charge phase just took forever, and it was both of our faults. There were so many options, so many hard decisions to make. For instance, you know, I charged. It's just weird. I charged a Gortach. I charged my Minotaurs into his harpies, which caused them to contract, which opened up for my Gortach to charge the rear of his spellcaster and the crossbows, and they flee. And then it just got really complicated. So anyway, I'm doing some charging in the middle. He did that one flee. At some point, my Wildhorns that were behind his lines, I had a unit up front charge his fast cav, and then they charge his fast cav. It kind of ping-ponged back and forth, and they caught him, and then reformed to turn backwards again. That's why they're way up there. So, the Gortach on the left did not charge his executioners because I didn't want to just give those points away. What I did is I marched up, and now he is just going to have to function as a redirector. But knowing that, and there's no other important combat going on, I'm just going to focus my magic on getting him a buff or two and see what I can do. Now I think I have the Oaken Throne buff up, so if I get the toughness buff on him, he's going to be toughness 10, which probably doesn't even matter. I think even toughness 8, yeah, he's still winning me on 6s, and that right there I would welcome him to charge me at that. And after combat, yeah, I mean, the Minotaurs killed the Harpies. They overran and didn't have to move. They are just where they are. All right, Dread Elf turn 3. His Dread Knight unit decides just to charge the Chariot. They're going to easily kill it and then charge my General's unit. I could have fled to the Chariot, and he could have easily made the charge into my General's unit. But I didn't want that because that puts it in my opponent's. He has a magic phase to do what he can do. Whereas if he overruns, then I can countercharge with my Chariot, and then I have a magic phase to support this key combat. So in my previous magic phase, I have 2 buffs up on my Gortach on the left. I've got a toughness buff up and distracting. So I'm just begging, like, charge me. Please charge me. I love that. And by the way, I had another unit of Wildhorns ambush top middle that came on my last turn. So overall, that's where he's at. If you look in the top right, crossbows and fast cav are facing that unit. So basically that unit is set up where I can charge the mage bunker, and my opponent doesn't want that. He wants to shoot me off the table. That unit does have a gleaming icon. We'll see if it's enough. So there's that. And yeah, the shooting was enough. He forced a panic. It was a 7 rerollable and failed them both. They ran off the table. He kills the Chariot. He overruns over that fence, has to take all dangerous terrain tests, and between I think the Chariot was dead before I struck. I think he lost. Let's see, he lost 2 previously, so I think he lost 2 or 3 on that dangerous terrain, which was just really, really appreciated. Now he's got 2 characters in this unit, so here's what's going to happen. We're going to go to combat. I'm not going to let my general get into a challenge. I don't think. So his general and his BSB are going to do a bunch of wounds to my my Longhorns, my general is going to have 6 attacks, rerolling to hit, strength 7. And his job is just to wipe that unit. And I think he should kill 5 or 6 of them. So then it's just a matter of, can we win the grind with that whole unit and just characters? And I believe we can. So we go to Beastlord's turn 4. And my opponent's phase, he put Frenzy on the Executioners. I think that's a huge mistake. Because, one, they don't really need it. Anyway, so that played a part of my decisions here. Something happened here, and I have no recollection why, but if you look at the top, his crossbows with his mage are gone. And I think when they were set up, my Wildhorns had a charge into their flank. I don't know if a Gortach charged them and they failed their tear and ran off the board, but I don't think that happened because my Gortach don't look like they failed a charge. It almost looks like he fled the charge, and I don't know why he would have. So, I don't know. They're gone. I don't remember why. In the important combat, we're sitting here. I throw my Chariot in. I know the Chariot has a chance of doing no wounds to them, but you never know. Might do a wound, and even just one wound helps a lot, and the charge helps, because I have a charge, he has a charge. And over here, so I take the Centaur Chieftain, and I put him as chaff in front of this unit. They're frenzied. I'm not worried about them failing their frenzy test. I think what's going to happen is they charge him, and then they can't reform. They have to overrun. Well, he better hope he gets off the board, because if he doesn't, he's going to get a huge charge into his flank. I think he will get off the board, in which case I'm just going to set up all 3 of these units that no matter what he does when he comes on the board, he's going to get charged by all 3. And I think with all 3, and especially with a magic phase to support, I think I win that. And I'm going to get that unit. Over here, oh wow, look at that. So I have the Oaken Throne up, and then I put the toughness buff on this unit. And so not only does my general just cleave his way through the rank and file, and I think my Chariot did a wound too. His BSB and his general couldn't do any wounds. I mean, they're high strength. They're +3 and +2 strength respectively. I am toughness 8, and so he's only wounded on 6s. Matter of fact, somehow, some way, my general has 2 wounds on him. Maybe I did get in challenge. Who knows? Anyway, destroyed them in combat. I think they were on auto break. If not, they were like on a 3 rerollable, something like that. And broke them, and then I ran them down despite them having Swift Stride. So, yeah. And then my Chariot overran into the rear of that crossbow unit. At that point, my opponent's super reeling. I think he's ready to throw his dice across the table. We look at the board. We do some quick calculations. We're not out of time, but it's tight on time, and it's been a pretty intense game for both of us. And we look at it, and I think I pretty much said, look, I'm going to get that crossbow unit. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm going to get that Cauldron. There's nothing you can do about it. You can save the fast cav. And the only real question to be answered is if you choose to get my Centaur Chieftain and then I triple charge your Executioners, might you get some points? But if we stop it as it is now, like if you don't charge if you don't charge and I don't charge because you don't want to risk the Executioners, it's still full points for me. And he just threw in the towel. He's like, yeah, I'm done. So I think either way it was gonna be full points. I think he gets my Centaur Chieftain. I triple charge his unit. I support it with magic, and I think I wiped that unit. We actually rolled it out after the game. When all the pressure's off, we rolled out that combat with no magic support, and he kills 1 Gortach. He kills a number of Minotaurs. I kill just all except maybe 5 of his, and then it's like, that's cool. But we go to the next round of combat, and you're not going to get the rest of the wounds off me, and I think I killed the rest of the unit. So I think I was accurate in that. Anyway, so I got full 23 points. So out of 4 games, I have 3 games that are huge wins, 23, 22, and 23. 23 is max points. And then 1 game at a 0. Just a weird tournament. But with that puts me in 3rd place going into the last game and puts me on table 2. But I am pretty far behind places 1 and 2, so I'm probably just battling for 3rd place at this point. And again, I can't complain about it after such a huge loss. Anyway, that's it for the game. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things. as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.